the highlight was a great hitting. Mark Grace, who became the 14th Cub in history to hit for the cycle. This is triple. Now this is his homer with 2 on in the 9th to give the Cubs a chance, but they lost. Tonight, it's a new opponent, Tommy Lasorda, and the Los Angeles Dodgers are in town to open a 3-game series. Stay with us for all the thrills coming your way in a moment. Steve Stahl, we're at Wrigley Field with a new opponent tonight. Tommy Lasorda's here with the Los Angeles Dodgers, and they've won 3 out of the last 4 they've played on this road trip.
And the Dodgers are 4 games under 500, but they're only 5.5 games back. The Cubs 1 game under 500. Unfortunately, 8 games behind the streaking Phillies. And Pedro Estacio goes to the mound for Los Angeles. Greg Hibbert tonight for the Cubs.
Well, the Tommy Lasorda thinks that the Dodgers are going to be in the race. The big boys are starting to hit ball. Davis and Strawberry. Well, we'll be back with the starting lineups in a moment. Stone and Tom Brenneman from Wrigley Field. Here's the first pitch being thrown out by Steve Haas from Pepsi. The lineups for tonight for Tommy Lasorda's Dodgers: Butler leads off, Reed at second base, Eric Davis in left, Darryl Strawberry in right, Tim Wallach at third, Mike Piazza the catcher, Eric Karras at first, Jose Offerman at short, and Pedro Estacio is the pitcher. Diet Pepsi gives you the Cubs defensive alignment of May in left, Smith in center, Sosa in right, Buechele, Vizcaino, and Sandberg and Grace around the infield. Wilkins the catcher, and Greg Hibbert, who's won 2 and lost 2, will be on the mound. The umpiring crew tonight: Brian Gorman behind the plate, Mike Winters at first, Mark Hirschbeck at second, and Bruce Framing at third. Boy, Bruce has lost a lot of weight, hasn't he? How about that Tommy Lasorda? He's got a first-string catcher named Mike Piazza. The Dodgers took him in the 62nd round of the 1988 draft. The only reason they took him is because Tommy Lasorda convinced the scouts that the boy was worth being drafted. Now here he is 4 years later, or 5, in the starting lineup for the Dodgers as their #1 catcher. How about that one?
Not only that, Harry, but he's hitting .307 with 5 home runs and 19 runs batted in, so he's doing a fine job for the Dodgers. And Greg Hibbert goes to the mound for his 7th Cubs start, his first against Los Angeles. And Hibbert has been hurt by the long ball this year. He's given up 8 home runs in just 37 innings of work. And the whole Cubs staff has been victimized by the long ball. They lead the National League, giving up 32 home runs. However, the wind is blowing in tonight. It's blowing right toward the Cub dugout. It's going to be very difficult to hit the ball out in left field. The ball is going to be held up to center field. It probably will go out down the line in left, and that's where Eric Davis comes into play. And so Hibbert's going to have to keep the ball away from the right-hand hitters. And last time out, he did a pretty good job of that. He beat Colorado going 8 innings, giving up just 5 hits. He gave up 2 runs, just 1 of them earned. And the big stat is he didn't walk anybody, and he needs a similar performance tonight.
Iowa had their 6-game winning streak halted last night, losing to New Orleans. Iowa's record now, they've won 20 and lost 5. There's some people down in Texas, John and Lola Campodice, celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary, watching the ball game in Texas. Here is Brett Butler, 36-year-old center fielder. There's Steve Buechele taking his calisthenics, playing very shallow at third, as is Grace at first.
Well, Brett Butler is going to at least fake a bunt or probably lay one down before the night's over.
Curveball low and away. Hibbert is 1-2, lost 2, high earned run average 4.82. The Cubs need a victory to once again reach the 500 mark. There's a strike that it's called. Coleman and Dorothy King are attending the ball game tonight. Coleman was a longtime employee of WGN TV. Bouncing ball right to Hibbert. That'll be easy. One away. Butler. Tap to Greg Hibbert. That brings up Jody Reed. He used to be with the Red Sox. The Dodgers signed him as a free agent. He's hitting .259 with 1 homer, 6 RBIs. Facing the Cubs for the first time during his career.
Reed hit .247 last year with Boston and didn't show much power or much speed. But they got him to shore up their defense, which is generally near the bottom. And once again this year, at this point of the season, they lead the National League in errors.
1 ball, no strikes. There is the strike call, and the count is evened up. Detroit leading the Yankees 1-0 at the end of 3. Ground ball, Vizcaino, big hop to throw. Easy out. 2 out, nobody on.
Pretty good sign for Greg Hibbert in that the first 2 batters hit the ball right into the ground. And when he has a good night, it's because he's throwing a good sinker, keeping the ball away from the right-hand hitters and making sure that he gets a changeup over. And like Mike Morgan, he will get a lot of ground balls when he's right.
Eric Davis has hit 11 home runs against the Cubs during his career, most of which was with the Cincinnati Reds. There's a strike call. He's hitting .224 for the year, 1 homer, 10 RBI. Hot shot right to Buechele. 1 hop. He throws the first. 1, 2, 3. We go in the bottom of the first, no score. Wrigley Field, Diet Pepsi presents the Cubs starting lineup of Dwight Smith in center. Vizcaino with Sharp. Grace at first. Sandberg in the cleanup spot. May in left. Buechele at third. Sosa in right. Wilkins catching. And Greg Hibbert is on the hill. The defensive alignment for the Dodgers, Davis in left. Butler in center and Strawberry in right. Wallach, Offerman, Reed, and Karras around the infield. Piazza, the catcher, and Estacio is on the mound, the 23-year-old right-hander from the Dominican Republic.
Estacio has a good straight change, and he has a sinking fastball, and those are his 2 best pitches.
First pitch way outside. Clarence and Selma Meir, longtime Cub fans, watching and enjoying the ball game tonight. 1 ball, no strike. Hot shot right at Karras, who scooped it up for the out. Here's Vizcaino. He's hitting .358. He's 6th in the National League in hitting. And right behind him is his teammate Mark Grace with .349. Vizcaino has an 11-game hitting streak. The longest of the year in the National League has been Steve Buechele's 13. There's Tommy Lasorda. And Tommy's keeping that weight off very well. 1 out, nobody on. The Dodgers should need a scouting book on Jose Vizcaino. He was in their organization originally.
And what he will do now that he probably didn't do then was bunt just about once a game or every other game.
Fastball is high, ball 2.
There's a look at Orel Hershiser, who's back to his usual very tough self. And it's a miracle comeback after radical surgery, as former Dodger Rookie of the Year Jim Lefevre looks on.
There's the strike called on the outside corner.
Estacio has been like 2 different pitchers. He's 2-0 at home with a .250 ERA, 0-2 on the road with a .491 ERA.
Vizcaino, in the last 21 games, Vizcaino has hit .430, 34 out of 79. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out, nobody on. There's the bullpen crew of the Dodgers. 2-2. Ball 3.
Mike Piazza told me that Estacio still likes to trick hitters more than he probably should, that he's got a good sinking fastball. He would like him to use it more than he does. And today he's got a pretty good fastball, throwing upwards of 88 miles an hour.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Fouled it back into the stand.
Stasio, good size for a pitcher at 6'2", 295 pounds. And you look at a crowd that eventually will swell to capacity, but it's a late arriving crowd, as has been the custom at 7 o'clock starts in the night games.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Bouncing ball. That'll be easy for Jody Reed. 2 up, 2 down. And like Greg Hibbert, Stasio is making him hit the ball on the ground also.
Jim McGrath of McGrath Buick on hand, as is Gordon Walker of Bauer Buick and Tony Castle of Castle Buick.
2 out, nobody on. Here's Mark Grace, who hit for the cycle yesterday. A single, a double, a triple, and a homer. The 14th Cub in history to do that. There's a strike. You know, the Cubs pitching staff leads the league in allowing homers. 32 home runs hit off Cub pitchers. Another curveball strike. That's in only 29 games. Of the runs scored against the Cubs, 42% have been as a result of home runs. 1 ball, 2 strikes. That evens it up.
Mark Grace, more than any of the other Cubs, is probably not as susceptible to the changeup. Now there's almost a 10-mile-an-hour disparity between the Stasio fastball and the good straight change, which he throws around 78, 79 miles an hour.
2 balls, 2 strikes. A little pop fly, short center, easy out. Brett is there, makes the catch. At the end of 1, no score. The second, Darryl Strawberry leading it off. During his career, he's hit 22 homers against the Cubs, but they've held him so far as a .259 batting average is concerned. For this year, he's hitting only .155. Ground ball. There's Grace over to Hibbert for an easy out.
Cub fans, subscribe to Vineline, the official newspaper of the Chicago Cubs, and don't miss a minute of all the excitement this season. Vineline covers all the players in the major leagues and the minor leagues with in-depth articles you can't get anywhere else. Subscribe for 2 years and get a limited edition collector's set of Ryne Sandberg baseball cards. For more information, call 312-404-CUBS.
1 out, nobody on. Here's Tim Wallach in the Dodger uniform after so many years with the Montreal Expos. The way to a slow start with the bat, hitting only .227, but with 4 homers. There's a ground ball. Vizcaíno, good play. He's out. A sparkling play by Jose Vizcaíno.
5 hitters, 5 ground balls, and Greg Hibbert has his stuff tonight. And from the left field camera, we'll take a look at the range of Jose Vizcaíno. He goes up the middle, showing good range to his left, and he's got a strong enough arm to get it over there in plenty of time. Wallach does not run well, and with the high infield grass, Jose makes it look easy.
Mike Piazza, he's 0 for 3 against Cub pitching. He just came up last year, you know. Boy, what a story. Tells you something about Tommy Lasorda, and you wonder why he isn't up in the front office as a general manager for somebody, including the Dodgers. Here's a curveball inside. At his suggestion, they drafted this guy in the 62nd round. Lord only knows how many players are ahead of him. We could figure it out. Now the pitch high outside.
I think the fact that he's Tommy's godson had something to do with the fact that they drafted him.
Hey, you can pick your godson to be a major league ball player, but if he doesn't have talent, where are you?
Well, he's really come around the last couple of years, Harry.
Hey, isn't that the sign of a man who knows talent? A fellow who doesn't just judge him on how fast he runs or how far he hits the ball, but what he can do There's a drive with 3-1 that the wind's going to hold it in the ballpark. How about that? That ball would have been out of any park. But here with the wind blowing in, that's a long out. We go in the bottom of the second, no score. Carey back to the ballpark. Boy, that Piazza did everything but hit the ball out of the ballpark. You can see the wind bring it right back to Derrick May. Here's Sandberg to lead it off.
Good thing the wind is blowing the way it's blowing, or that one would have been well onto Waveland.
And I saw you figuring how many players of these smart Major League Ball clubs and their astute scouting staffs go through before Tom Lasorda talked his team into drafting Mike Piazza.
Well, now this is just an estimate, Harry.
Ground smash. Up with it. There's a throw by Wallach. 1 out.
But approximately 1,612 players were drafted before Mike Piazza's name went into the hopper for the Los Angeles Dodgers. So he not only fooled all the clubs, but he fooled them consistently over 62 rounds.
Well, what does that tell you about some of the scouting geniuses connected with these ball clubs?
That you got to be real lucky to develop players like Mike Piazza.
And you say he only got picked because he was Tom's godson.
Well, I think it was a favor that turned into gold. He spun some gold out of straw.
I wish we'd have some godsons like that in the Cub uniform.
Wasn't Barry Bonds anybody's godson? Couldn't the Cubs have drafted
Willie
him?
Mays. And he's with the Giants.
You know, the Giants drafted Barry Bonds, Harry, and they were about $20,000 apart. The Giants would not come up, and Barry Bonds went to Arizona State and later the Pittsburgh Pirates. Otherwise, he would have spent the first few years of his career with the Giants.
There's a high pop foul, will be caught. Wallach. Oh, no, he didn't. I think he was a little afraid of the wire there.
Wallach going over, and the wind is taking the ball away from him. You see him trying to check where he is, and the ball keeps drifting and hits off the end of the glove. He's not going to be charged with an error on this play.
Oh, no. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Cincinnati ahead of San Diego 4-2 at the end of 2. A high fly ball, easy out. Brett Butler, 5 in a row, retired by Estacio. 6 in a row has been retired by Hibbert.
I think Pedro is showing the Cubs a little something different. They expected a sinker ball pitcher, and normally the velocities of a sinker ball are about 82 to 84 miles an hour. But Estacio has thrown his fastball 88, 89 tonight, and he's throwing a high riding fastball on occasion. That's getting up on the Cub hitters maybe a little more quickly than they thought.
Here is Steve Buechele. Boy, what a great third base he's played all year long. And he's come up with some mighty important clutch hits. 3 homers, 14 RBIs, hitting .275. Ground ball to hit the Wallach. He's got it. And so 2 innings are gone. Each pitcher has a perfect game. At the end of 2, no score. Back at Wrigley Field, we go into the top of the 3rd. Offerman is leading it off. The shortstop, or Karras make that. Offerman will be next. Eric Karras hitting .231. He swings, fouls it off. He's a Rookie of the Year in '92. Hey, it's time for tonight's Aflac trivia question. We're going to show it to you in a moment. Karras goes down swinging. There it is. I'll tell you this, both players have had a connection with a Chicago team. Well, between Steve and I, we thought it out. 1 out, and here is Jose Offerman.
Offerman, with a 10-game hitting streak, is really hitting the baseball from both sides of the plate.
One out, nobody on. Bouncing ball, that'll be easy. Over to first. Bouchel throws out Offerman. That's 8 in a row retired by Hibbert.
And Hibbert is throwing the ball exactly like he did against the Atlanta Braves when he went 8 2/3 innings with a shutout and beat them 5-1. And that night, like tonight, he had a great sinker and great command. And Billy Connors worked long and hard with Hibbert on trying to alter his motion, and it seems to have worked wonders.
Estacio fouls it into the Dodger dugout. Hibbert against Colorado pitched a great game. Here's a ground ball. That'll be easy. 9 in a row retired by Hibbert as Sandberg throws out Estacio. We go in the bottom of the third, no score. Gary with Steve Stone and Tom Brenneman. Here's Sammy Sosa opening up the bottom of the third. Sammy hitting .266, 7 homers, 17 RBI.
Sammy had 2 walks yesterday, and that is most unusual for him. So maybe he is going to show a little more patience.
There's a high fly ball, easy out. Coming in for Eric Davis. 7 in a row now, retired by Estacio. Here's the answer to the question. One, Tommy John, Dodgers and Yankees, Ferguson Jenkins, Cubs and Rangers, and Tommy John once pitched for the Chicago White Sox.
Rick Wilkins trying to break out of his season-long slump. And although at times he has swung the bat fairly well, he's swinging at a lot of low breaking balls out of the strike zone.
It's a little bit low and outside. Boy, he really crushed one yesterday.
That would have turned the game around, Harry.
Sure.
That was with the bases loaded. That would have plated 3 runs, and it's a completely different ball game.
You know, that's the thing. People around the country pick up the paper, read the score. Well, the Cubs lost again. And it's true, they did. But if you saw that game, you realize you have to have a little luck. They had luck, but all bad. Wilkins swings and he misses. Boy, oh boy, we haven't played a half hour. We got 3 innings yet. 2 balls and the strike. Now the delivery. Swung on, ground ball, easy out. So Hibbert will be the hitter.
Kids, don't miss your chance to learn baseball from Cubs players Derrick May, Chuck McElroy, and a host of other Cub players and coaches at the 2nd Annual All-Star Kids Clinic. Tickets are just $10 and can be purchased at the Chicago Cubs box office, or send a check or money order for $10 to Chicago Cubs Kids Clinic, 1060 West Addison Street, Chicago, Illinois, 60613.
Greg Hibbert, nothing out of 11 in his National League existence. Looking for his first hit. Formerly with the White Sox. The count evens up 1-1. Cincinnati leading San Diego 4-2 at the end of 2. The Mets are out in front of Florida 1-0 at the end of 3. Atlanta at Houston tonight. No score in the 2nd. High fly ball going back. Eric Davis under it. He has it to retire the side. 1, 2, 3. Harry Carey from Wrigley Field, where at the end of 3 there is no score.
For baseball, and hi again, everybody. Back with our producer director Arnie Harris and Steve Stone. Tom Brenneman at Wrigley Field in Chicago. Neither team has had a base runner, and Estacio and Greg Hibbert both very sharp thus far.
And Tommy, it is really dangerous up here in the booth, as you know, and so because of that, we've gotten you a catcher's mask and a football helmet, because I know you have a bad jaw, and certainly you need some protection.
Well, that is very kind, and I'll slide this on, and we'll see how it looks a little bit later on. Boy, it never stops. I get phone calls from all my relatives in Virginia, the whole deal. They said, tell Stoney to get off your back. No, but I tell you, I miss you guys. It's great to be back.
Well, outside of the fact that you look just a little like Jay Leno now with that protruding chin, you look none the worse for wear.
Well, thanks. And the swelling's going down a little bit.
How about a double perfect game?
How about it? Well, you know, Hibbert made that change, and I'm sure that you and Harry had a chance to get into this through the first 3 innings, along with Billy Connors. And he's getting ground ball after ground ball here tonight. Butler thrown out by Sandberg. The first 10 in a row retired by Greg Hibbert tonight.
Well, I know this is going to surprise you somewhat, Tom. We really didn't get a chance to get into it too much, but what happened was Billy Connors took Greg Hibbert out to throw some live batting practice, and Billy stood behind him on the mound and said that the release point was bad, and he worked with his motion. And he finally got Hibbert to the point where the sinker was working once again. And when Greg Hibbert is at his best, and he has been through 10 hitters, he's thrown ground ball after ground ball.
Jody Reed, longtime Boston Red Sox second baseman, settles in his first season as a National Leaguer. Came in hitting it .259 with a home run and 6 batted in. Reed had some very good years with Boston, but last season slumped down into the 240s, and he's a near lifetime .290 hitter. Left in the expansion draft, and the Dodgers got him in a trade. He's thrown out by Vizcaíno. 2 up, 2 down.
9 ground balls through 3 2/3 innings as Greg Hibbert has been flawless. The control has been outstanding. He's changing speeds very well. And so far, he's mystified the Dodgers. But the man who will get a good swing at him because he doesn't have an overpowering fastball is Eric Davis.
Davis bounced out to Steve Buechele. Probably the hardest hit ball of the game for the Dodgers, ending the first inning. Now, many will tell you Davis has not been the same player since that kidney injury in Game 4 of the World Series a couple of years ago in 1990 for Cincinnati in Oakland. Lacerated the kidney, and boy, it's been a long road back. Well, they got a good swing, Stoney. You called it, but drilled it right at Buechele. 12 in a row retired by Hibbert. We go to the bottom of the 4th in a scoreless game. The end of the western sky, a picture perfect night for baseball here in Chicago, and boy, the weather all through the weekend and here in the early part of this week has just been fabulous.
This is really the best we've had. And so far, everybody appreciating this evening's activities, but the hitters. Both pitchers have been perfect through 3 1/3 innings.
Here's Dwight Smith against Pedro Astacio. Astacio without a strikeout. Smitty bounced out to Eric Karros his first time up. Cubs trying to get back to 500. This was a homestand. They figured they could get well beyond the 500 mark, but it hasn't worked out well so far. Splitting 2 against Colorado, dropping 2 of 3 against San Diego. Fouled away. 2-1 to Dwight Smith.
We talked about the Dodgers as a defensive team and the fact that once again they're leading the National League in errors, and it's graphically illustrated by their performance last year. Take a look at what happens when the Dodgers don't make an error. When they make 1, and when they make 2 or 3 errors.
That is a fair ball by Karros into the corner. Smitty on his way to second base. Strawberry just now getting to it, but Smitty will slam on the brakes. Crowd wanted him to try for 3.
Now you're going to see the difference in the Cub batting order with Jose Vizcaíno in the 2nd spot as you see the 3rd double of the year for Dwight Smith down the line by a diving Eric Karros, and you can see Mike Winter motioning fair all the way. And Tim Wallach goes to the mound to tell young Pedro Astacio that there probably is going to be a bunt, and it's going to be down the 3rd base line. Vizcaíno is going to want to bunt it right there if Jim Lefevre does indeed choose to bunt with him. I got to figure in what shaping up as a real close game, Tommy, that he's got to bunt him along.
Well, you see Wallach a couple of steps in on the grass at 3rd base. Offerman trying to keep Smitty close at short. And he does try to bunt, but he was bunting for a hit there. That was not to move the runner along.
Well, I'll tell you what he can do. If he takes a look at the right side of the infield, Eric Karros is back surprisingly deep at first base, as is Jody Reed at second. And if you want to drag one up the right side, you're going to move along Smith. You got a better chance for a base hit that way because Wallach is in very close at third.
See what Jimmy Lefebvre elects to do here. Smith the leadoff double in a scoreless game. Smitty the first base runner for either team tonight. And that's a strike on the inside corner. Vizcaíno, a former Dodger, didn't like it.
Now Jose's got to shorten up and just make some contact, and he wants to try to pull the ball. Anastasio has thrown a surprising fastball tonight. He has really gotten it up there in a hurry for a man not known as a good, hard fastball pitcher.
Vizcaíno entering play at 3:58. Swings away, and that's not the idea. Dumps it out of play, but to the left side.
Jose was trying to protect as we take it to the rooftop camera, and you'll see this ball just about 6 inches outside, but the ball obviously tailing away from Vizcaíno, and he just wanted to protect the plate. So that's a good job of staying alive.
No score, last of the fourth inning. Leadoff double by Dwight Smith, who leads at second. Offerman right behind him, serving as his shadow. Now he'll move away.
There you take a look at Jose Offerman trying to keep Dwight Smith close. And this is about the time where they'd go to the pickoff play. So Smitty's going to have to be heads up.
Now the 1-2, and it's swung on and fouled. Piazza couldn't hang on to it. In fact, he got hit with it.
Piazza talking about just now starting to feel the effects of catching every day, and they played a long game in San Francisco yesterday, having to fly here to Chicago, and he says he can feel the fatigue of a catcher. Even though he's a very young man, he realizes what it takes to catch an entire season and how difficult it is. As you take a look at National League batting averages, Bonds on top. There's Galarraga and Alou, and Vizcaíno and Grace on the leaderboard.
Orlando Merced having quite a year, getting a chance to play every day for Jim Leyland's Pirates. We'll see them over the weekend. Here's a 1-2 again, and he just missed the inside corner. 2-2 to Vizcaíno.
The Dodgers playing Jose as an opposite field hitter with Brett Butler around toward left center. The gap is in right center if he can pull the ball, and that should be what he's trying to do here. Darryl Strawberry well off the line in right, and all kinds of room down the line.
Again the pitch, and it's in the dirt. Piazza can't find it. Estacio comes all the way in foul ground to get it. So the wild pitch will get Smitty to third base, and now Vizcaíno can cut it loose and try and knock him in.
That's the second wild pitch of the year for Estacio, and the Dodgers' ninth. There you see Joe Ferguson, Tommy Lasorda looking on, and we'll watch it again. This one bouncing right in front of the plate and took a wild hop, and Piazza couldn't locate it, and Smith just trots into third. So you don't have to worry about the bunt now, but the infield is in at all four positions, and that makes it a lot easier to hit for Jose Vizcaíno.
Jose has knocked in 14 runs this season. He has a chance to break the deadlock here in a scoreless game. Last of the fourth inning, nobody out. 3-2, and it's foul. You know, you mentioned the name Tommy Lasorda, and boy, it's really amazing how long he's been around in terms of head coaches with the longest tenures in the big leagues. In all professional sports, only one longer than Tommy Lasorda. Don Shula is 23 years as head coach of the football Miami Dolphins. Lasorda, this being his 17th with the Dodgers. Vizcaíno draws a walk. That's a good at bat right there by Vizcaíno.
He's had a whole month full of good at bats, and it sets the stage for Mark Grace, who leads this club with 27 runs batted in. A look at Janine Turner at the ball game, rapidly becoming a big Cub fan.
Why not? Wonder if she's a fan of Mark Grace.
She'll be a bigger fan if he drives in his run.
Runners on the corners. Middle infield backs up now for the Dodgers. And it's smoked in the center, a base hit. Smitty will score. Grace knocks in his 28th run of the year, and it is 1-0 Cubs in front.
Runs driven in as Mark Grace continues his onslaught against National League pitching, and he almost took the head right off Pedro Astacio. A sinker out over the plate, and Mark rifles it back up the middle. So hitting for the cycle yesterday, 1 for 2 today with a run driven home, and the Cubs go on top by 1. And the way Hibbert is throwing, a couple more and this might be about it, especially with the wind blowing in tonight.
Sandberg looking for his first round tripper since coming back from the disabled list a week ago Saturday in Cincinnati. He bounced to Tim Wallach his first time up tonight. Still nobody out. Good breaking ball there by Astacio.
Talking with Mike Piazza, he said that the curveball that Astacio has right now is his third best pitch. He said he very rarely uses it. He'll use it to get ahead of hitters, but he'll try to wipe them out with the straight change, which he feels is his second best pitch, and the sinker, which Piazza feels is his best pitch. But he said something interesting. He said right now Astacio is trying to trick too many hitters. He says he's got a real good sinker and a better than average fastball, but even he doesn't believe in it yet. But he said he's a young man and will certainly get better.
Sandberg is knocked in 4 on the year, 2 on, nobody out. And he checked his swing. He went too far, or did he? They appeal to first, nothing doing, says Mike Winters. Ball and a strike. Well, Astacio really burst onto the scene a season ago. Had 4 complete games, tied for second best on the '92 Dodger outfit. And his 4 shutouts lead the team and were tied for second best in the entire National League. And that was the most by the rookie Oral Hershiser. The Dodger record is Fernando Valenzuela, who had 8 in his rookie year. That one almost hit it.
Sandberg able to get out of the way. Well, in years past with Ryne Sandberg, you could use a hit and run in this situation, as you see him just move out of the way of this one. And that just missed getting him. Now we'll see if Jim Lefevre, knowing that Ryne Sandberg probably is not going to hit one out of the park tonight with the wind blowing in, goes to the hit and run. Pretty good time to do it.
Grace a big lead at first. Karros plays behind him. And there they go. Swing and a miss. Throw down to third. And a good block there by Wallach. That one was in the dirt. Vizcaino picking up the steal. Likewise for Grace on to second base.
Sandberg swung at a changeup and missed. The hit and run was on. And if it's a good throw by Piazza, they've got him dead to rights at third. But it's not a good throw. And Wallach takes a good shot by Vizcaino, and he's lucky that he didn't get spiked here. This throw puts him right in the way of a sliding Vizcaino. And at the start of this season, Piazza threw out 11 of the first 15 men that tried to steal against him. But of late, he's 3 of his last 18. So they've been running on him at will.
2 in scoring position now. Grace at second, Vizcaino at third, nobody out. And he checked his swing. They appeal this time. Mike Winters says he went around.
I think if Rhino had stuck with the first one, Tommy, he might have gotten it. But when he kind of double clutched and went back again, as we'll see on the replay, watch what happens. Now right here it looks like he checks his swing. Let it go a little further, guys. Now watch. He goes out, he brings it back, and for some reason takes the little hop and goes again as if to show the umpire, no, I didn't swing. But he didn't convince Mike Winters, and Astacio gets the strikeout.
Runners still at second and third. Cubs leading in the fourth, 1-0. 1 man out, and here's Derrick May. Looks at ball 1. May flied to center fielder Brett Butler his first time up. Dodgers, one of the few teams we've seen this year, and it was this way when May first came up. They'd play him to go the other way, but teams this season have played him a little bit more to pull.
I think that's because of the advanced scouting, Tom. You know, this year, Derrick May was a different hitter in spring training and a different hitter early in the season. Billy Williams worked with him, and he started to pull the ball much more. Last year, he hit everything inside out. And this year, trying to be a little more powerful hitter, he was pulling the ball. And with the advanced scouts following the Cubs, especially in the Philadelphia series, they saw Derrick May get out in front of a lot of balls and rifle them to right field. And that's where the defense shifted. But tonight they're playing him once again as an opposite field hitter with Butler over a couple steps into left center against Estacio.
Estacio taking a long time getting the sign straight with Mike Piazza. 1 in, 2 on, and 1 man out. And it's into right field, a hit. 1 run scores. Here comes Grace. He will score. May the 2-run single. 3-0 Cubs in front.
19 runs driven home by Derrick May as he took a changeup and just looped it in front of Darryl Strawberry. You see Derrick May able to keep the hands back on this low changeup. It wasn't a bad pitch by Estacio, but it winds up in right field, and the Cubs have 3.
You know, Stoney, one thing I've never understood, and we get into this on a pretty regular basis during the telecast throughout the year, when you see teams shift playing a guy one way or the other. But if you're going to play a left-handed batter to go the other way, A, why would you throw him a pitch inside? B, why would you throw him a pitch that he can pull like a changeup?
Well, it's okay to throw him an inside fastball, Tommy, if it's above the hands where a guy tends to inside out it. But if you're playing him as an off-field hitter and throwing him changeups, it's just lack of communication between the pitcher, the catcher, and the defense. And that's exactly what happened to the Dodgers right there.
Well, obviously the Cubs will take it. 2-0 now to Steve Buechele, but we see it all the time, and every team's guilty of doing it.
Another factor also, Derrick May's pretty tough left-hand hitter, especially in a young right-hand pitcher. And there's nothing wrong with putting him on first base and taking a chance on a double play with Steve Buechele and another right-hand hitter coming up in back of him. But Tommy Lasorda elected not to do it, and Derrick May burned him.
Into right center field, Strawberry and Butler converge. Darryl will take it for out number 2. May back to the bag.
There's a lot of heat in Los Angeles on Fred Claire, and anytime the Dodgers get off to a slow start, especially on the heels of a disastrous last season for the Dodgers, you got to believe that the newspapers in L.A. are going to get on the Dodger brass, and that's exactly what's happened. Now, he tried to do some things in the offseason. He acquired Tim Wallach. He got Jody Reed. He tried to shore up this ball club any way he could, but last year was a disaster, largely due to the injuries to Eric Davis and Darryl Strawberry. But in Chicago, they love Sammy Sosa.
Well, you know, there's been a lot of talk. There was a big article in one of the Los Angeles papers yesterday, and Peter O'Malley, the owner of the Dodgers, would not come out and directly give a vote of confidence to Fred Claire or manager Tommy Lasorda. For whatever that's worth. I mean, O'Malley doesn't speak a great deal to the media to begin with. There goes a runner. Taken high. Piazza's throw. Not in time. May picks up the stolen base.
Derrick May stealing his 4th out of 5 attempts. The Cubs now have stolen 19 and been caught just twice. And we'll watch it again. Estacio giving Derrick May a couple of extra steps. It's not a bad throw by Piazza this time, but not in time with the swipe tag. And that's one of the things we heard about the Dodger pitchers, is they haven't been giving that young man much of an opportunity to throw out base runners, although the double steal was a bad throw by Piazza. That time the base was stolen on Estacio.
Cubs leading 3-0 in the bottom of the 4th. 2 men out, and it'll go to 4-0 as Sosa rips one into left center, scoring Derrick May. Sosa is 18th run batted in this year.
Spell it any way you want to, as long as he keeps driving in runs. And that shows you what the running game means to the Cubs. The running game this inning has set up the whole inning, because the Cubs, even though they have some guys who can hit home runs, are not going to be known as a power team. They're going to be a team that's going to have to run themselves into some offense. And Jim Lefevre has the club running tonight.
Dodger bullpen up and busy for the first time tonight. Left-hander and former Cubs Steve Wilson beginning to throw. And he's joined by the right-hander. Give it a shot.
Rylacek. Trilacek. He's joined by the right-hander, should suffice.
That's why I left it be. Yeah, you need some kind of prescription for that.
You took that one as an antibiotic for your jaw, didn't you?
Yeah, as a matter of fact. 2 of them. 4 runs in. Rick Wilkins, the 8th man to bat. Estacio had retired the first 9 batters of the game.
The only concern you have right now with an inning like this is that Greg Hibbert goes out and gets enough warm-up pitches, because the Cubs have been to bat a long time here in the 4th. And Greg has had a long time to cool off in the dugout, and he was letter perfect through 4.
Runner goes again. The throw is in the dirt, but it guns down Sosa. Good play by Offerman, ends the inning. But the Cubs strike for 4 on 4 hits, leaving none. We go to the 5th inning. It is a 4-0 Cub lead. Cubs getting 4 runs in the bottom of the 4th inning to open this 4-0 advantage. It'll be Darryl Strawberry, Tim Wallach, and Mike Piazza against Cub left-hander Greg Hibbert, who has been perfect through the first 4 innings. Strawberry looking at a strike. Let's step out for a station ID here in just a minute. Be coming to you right after this pitch. Grace will handle it himself. Strawberry retired. Let's pause for a station ID on the Cubs television network.
This is WGN-TV Chicago, America's #1 sports station.
Oh, they're all at the ballpark tonight, celebrating the Dodgers' arrival. The boys from Tinseltown, and even the Trolls are out here.
Yes, indeed. Thought that was you with your new do there for a minute.
Looks like me on Sunday mornings occasionally.
I know what you mean, especially living in this town. Strike 1 to Tim Wallach. Long time Montreal Expo, and boy, he's played a lot of baseball in his career. There's the original bleacher bum. Listen to the radio, got the shades on, the whole deal.
We've got a good question tonight, Tommy boy, on the Any Questions, and it's from young Chad Gooch, 8 years old, from Hampton, Illinois. He says, you're always talking about Arnie. Why don't you ever put him on camera? I would love to see him, and so would my mom and dad. Well, Chad, we can't do that because Arnie's in the truck, but I will tell you that he looks like a combination of Alec Baldwin and Mr. Ed. He makes Mickey Rooney look tall, and that's, remember the Harris family? But we thank Chad Gooch from Hampton, Illinois, for his inquiry about Mr. Harris.
Boy, is that thing ridiculous. Something has come onto the field. A beach ball of all things. Well, the Dodgers being here, it's only natural that a beach ball would fall in from the bleachers in right center. A bleach ball.
That's it. Boy, you haven't lost anything in 3 days off.
Yeah, except a lot of weight.
So what does your diet consist of? Strained bananas?
Let me tell you, I have come to be known on the north side of Chicago as the blender king. My mother was in town over the weekend for Mother's Day and picked me up a blender, and I've done a little fine tuning, and I'm making about the best banana yogurt milkshake you could possibly imagine.
It's going to wear a little thin in 2 or 3 weeks.
And so are my pants. 2-2 to Tim Wallach.
Ben Hines, the hitting instructor, is trying to get Wallach to stay behind the ball. He was lunging at everything, and he said he cannot hit that way.
Vizcaino in the hole. Good strong throw to Grace. And Hibbert is now retired 14 consecutive batters.
Mike Piazza was the man that hit a ball that should have been on Waveland Avenue, and any other night it would have been, but fortunately the wind batted it down in the second inning, reminiscent of the Bert Hooton no-hitter, when a seeming home run was just blown right back into the ballpark, and Bert went on to throw the no-no.
Strike one to Piazza.
Arnie tells us that Kenny Holtzman had a no-hitter that almost was lost when Hank Aaron hit one that blew back into park.
Yeah, Billy Williams, in fact, if I'm not mistaken,
went back to the well.
Yeah, went back all the way and thought the ball was gone. It blew back and he was able to make the grab.
Arnie Harris remembers when Cap Anson roamed the splendid confines of Wrigley Field.
Tinkers to Everest a chance. Wilkins throws out Piazza, and Hibbert perfect through 5. We go to the bottom of the inning. Cubs leading it 4-0. Chicago's very own Tom Skilling.
No, those are two pretty good specials.
Rick Wilkins to open the inning, and he looks at a strike from Pedro Estacio. Thought you were looking at the way I was talking here.
No, I'm just noticing the angle that your chin now protrudes at.
That's real nice. Real nice.
No, I imagine that it will go down. There's no doubt about that. But Jay Leno is pretty apt description.
I don't think it looks too bad here. I mean, it's got a little extra point to it. That's all I needed anyway, right?
You remember the Wizard of Oz and the Wicked Witch of the West?
Sure.
She had a chin very similar to that.
That was a good look on her.
It was a great look on her.
In the hole, Offerman throws, and it's not going to be in time. He wouldn't have had him anyway, even with a good throw.
Rick Wilkins making up for a couple of the line drives that went at people. And Jose Offerman, who usually has his problems at shortstop, throws this one well off the mark. But no chance to get Wilkins. Greg Hibbert has used 43 pitches to get through 5 innings, and talk about a minimum of effort. I don't think he's even broken a sweat yet. And he has made it look ridiculously easy. Of course, we know it's truly not.
Well, you would know.
I never used 43 pitches to get out of 5 innings in my life, even in Little League.
Well, you know, Hibbert's coming off a great game, and we get back to the fact earlier that Billy Connors had Hibbert throw some live batting practice while the team was on the road last week. But Hibbert bounced back in that game against Colorado, went 8 very strong innings, allowing 5 hits, 2 runs, only 1 was earned, and he didn't walk anybody.
I think that was a secret in that game. He regained the confidence in his sinker, Tommy. When you have confidence and you're a pitcher who lives and dies with control, as Hibbert is, then you'll throw the ball in the strike zone, trusting that if they do hit it, they'll hit it into the ground like they've done tonight.
Well, Hibbert showed the bunt and then swung away and missed it. And Tim Wallach, the happiest guy in the ballpark about that.
Well, the master at that play is sitting in the Dodger dugout, and that's Orel Hershiser, who probably does that swinging or slug bunt better than anybody in the game. And unfortunately, the Cubs have seen it too many times to their liking, as you look at Wallach, who is in very close at third. This bunt should be up the first base side.
2-1 now to Hibbert. Each pitcher was perfect through the first 3 innings, but the Cubs getting 4 runs on 4 hits in the bottom of the 4th. RBIs by Grace, 2-run single by May, and a run-scoring single by Sammy Sosa. Wilkins has started the bottom of the 5th with an infield hit. Boy, Wallach way in and bunted foul.
Well, Tommy, you tracked down the correct pronunciation of this fellow's name, the right-hander that was up in the bullpen, and that is
Rick Trilchik.
You got it and still can't say it.
Right.
Trilchik. And Steve Wilson. We can both say Wilson.
It's a little easier. Although, give me a little time. We'll find out. See what Hibbert's doing here. Estacio backing off the rubber, hoping Hibbert might tip his cap. But nothing doing. Wallach still in at third base. Outfield very shallow. Hibbert hit the ball pretty deep into left field his last time up to Eric Davis. He'll bunt it this time and cannot get the job done. You know, those are the kinds of little things. And I know this is a 4-0 game with the Cubs leading. But little things like that, pitchers' inability to get runners over. One big reason why the Cubs are 5-9 in one-run games so far this early season.
And Hibbert does not have a sacrifice this year. So if there's one thing that he wants to work on, it is laying the ball down.
Smitty started the party in the fourth inning with a leadoff double down the right field line. Went to third on a wild pitch, scored on Grace's single to center.
Yesterday, Dwight Smith had a tough day. He went 0 for 5, and that was the first time that Dwight Smith started a game and did not get a base hit. So when you look at guys who are given an opportunity and really seize that opportunity and run with it, Dwight Smith is one of those guys that has fought his way into the starting lineup and doesn't look like he ever wants to leave it.
Wallach even with a bag at third. 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, we invite you to be with us tomorrow afternoon, game 2 of this series. Leadoff man with Mr. Stone, known as the Professor in some parts, gets underway at 2 o'clock. Frank Castillo will be on the mound for the Cubs against Ramon Martinez. Then Wednesday, the finale will be on at 1 o'clock. Mike Morgan against Kevin Gross.
Cubs just 2-3 on this homestand, and so this series becomes vitally important to them with Pittsburgh coming to town.
3-1 to Smith, and the Dodgers enter this series playing their best ball of the regular year. They've won 2 in a row for their last 5 and 7 of their last 11. So the count is now 2-1 on Smith, not 3-1. That scoreboard operator is quick tonight. High drive way back. Wind will not keep this one in. Goodbye. It is 6-0 Cubs on Smitty's 3rd home run of the season.
That's the second hit off Pedro Estacio. Smitty has now driven home 5, and Montgomery Ward donates $200 to Cubs Care for the blast off the bat of Dwight Smith. And nothing would have kept that one in the ballpark, because Smitty, who doesn't usually hit the long ball, is a very strong man, and he got all of that one.
Tell you what, he might not hit him all that often, but when he hits him, he nails him.
That one I don't think was quite as far as the one he hit in Colorado, but this one went a long way.
Yes, sir, Smitty. Well, they have lit up Estacio to the tune of 6 runs on 6 hits in the last inning and a third after Estacio retired the first 9 batters of the game. There's another hit. Vizcaíno's first, and that means his hitting streak continues now, a career best 12 consecutive games.
Let's take a look at the home run one more time and look at the location. A fastball out over the plate, and that's exactly what Dwight Smith loves. And I think that the base hit is going to send Estacio to the showers. And watch the reaction of Dwight Smith. He knows this one's gone when it leaves the bat. Way back there. And that's it for Estacio. And we'll be back to talk about Steve Wilson after these messages.
Last of the 5th inning, and taking over for Estacio, the former Cub Steve Wilson.
Steve Wilson's having a pretty good year. The ERA at 2.70, on for the 14th time. He's only thrown 10 innings, given up 13 hits and 3 runs. Given up 1 home run. He's walked 8, he's spanned 7, and that's the last time out. We'll take a look at the career against the Cubs. He has given them nary a run in 4 games. One of the big disappointments as far as the Dodgers are concerned, because they desperately needed a stopper, was the fact that they acquired Todd Worrell as a free agent. And Todd Worrell so far has been able to do almost nothing with Los Angeles. Last year with St. Louis, he only saved 3 games because, as you know, Lee Smith is their stopper, but he was 5-3 with a 2.11 ERA in 67 games. And this year, Worrell has only been healthy for 2 games. He's only pitched 1 2/3 innings, and he's had nothing but physical problems.
So 1 on, 1 man out. Here's Grace. He got the Cubs on the board in the 4-run 4th inning with an RBI single. Lifts this one into left center, but Davis is there. And that's out number 2 as Vizcaíno goes back to first. But you know what's happened? Due to the injury of Worrell, all of a sudden Jim Gott has reemerged. He's having a sensational year in the LA bullpen.
Well, Jim Gott has 4 of the 7 Dodgers saves, has not given up a run yet in 13 appearances. And Gott, who at times during his career, Tommy, with San Francisco and Pittsburgh especially, has shown signs of being a stopper, but he's been forced to fill that role and has done an outstanding job for the Dodgers.
Here's Rhino. 0 for 2. He's bounced to third and struck out. Well, that one hitting away from Wilson.
Pretty good save right there by Mike Piazza as Wilson launches one high and away. Going down to the dirt, the rosin bag, trying anything to get a better grip. There's a man who wants Mike Piazza to be the Rookie of the Year. And if a catcher hits around 270, 280 and catches 140 games, he's got the inside track at Rookie of the Year.
That went out of play. 1-1 to Sandberg. Well, entering tonight's game, as we mentioned earlier, Cubs a game under 500 at 14 up, 15 down. Already 8 behind the red-hot Phillies. And what a win it was yesterday for Jim Fregose's team. Lee Smith came in with a 3-run lead. Served up a grand slam home run to Mariano Duncan. I think the Phillies, as is now 1-2 on Sandberg, since inserting Duncan into the regular starting lineup, are 15-2 when Duncan starts.
You take a look at the standings right there. The Cubs actually 8 games in back. Just a half game ahead of Florida. And Florida's played pretty decent baseball, making life miserable for the New York Mets.
In the dirt. It'll come all the way near the stands. And Vizcaíno, a big turn at second base, slams on the brakes. Another wild pitch for the LA staff, second of the game.
And second of the year for Steve Wilson. Wilson having some problems, and that one impossible to stop. That ball bounced 5 feet in front of home plate. Just hit high off the shoulder of Piazza, who's getting beaten up behind the plate tonight. And that's what he was talking about before the game, the aches and pains the catcher has to go through. And I said to him, kind of makes you appreciate the numbers Johnny Bench put up during his career, doesn't it? And he said they're just astounding when you look at them.
Well, we showed the graphic earlier in the year when the Phillies were in town. Darren Daulton led the league in RBIs last year. Only 3 other catchers have ever done it. And all 3 will be in the Hall of Fame. 2 are already there, and Roy Campanella and Johnny Bench. Bench did it 3 different times in his career. And Gary Carter will be in Cooperstown one day. So how are you feeling tonight, Stoney? You all right?
Everything is good so far with the Cubs rolling along. Pretty good baseball game.
Well, this is quite the LA-ish outfit you have on tonight.
Well, you mean the casual suit with the no tie look?
Sure.
Well, Los Angeles in town. Got to dress to the opposition, Tom. I'll be wearing a big fish on my head when we play the Marlins.
That'd be a good look for you. Very good look. 3-2 now to Sandberg.
I know, trying to get home another run, and he's got to start getting untracked. We talked about the fact that he missed 2 months, and you generally cannot miss 2 months. Take your spring training during the season and come back in mid-season form. So although this is May, usually a very hot month for Sandberg, it's his March, and it's going to take a while till he really gets a consistent stroke.
3-2 delivery. And it's hammered hard, but Wallach down on both knees. Throw is on target, and that's the inning. Cubs 2 more runs, 3 hits, leaving 1. We go to the 6th. Hibbert is perfect so far with a 6-0 lead. Steve Stone, Tom Brenneman at Wrigley Field in Chicago. It is a 6-0 Cub lead. And now all of a sudden the score is not the center of attention. It is left-hander Greg Hibbert. He has been perfect through the first 5 innings, and you can forget about that. It goes to the right center field alley. Karros on his way to second base with a leadoff double. So the perfect game bid comes to an end after 5 innings for Hibbert. Karros a leadoff 2-base hit.
6th double of the year for last year's Rookie of the Year. And Eric Karros gets the fastball up. The first real mistake that Hibbert has made, and Karros takes advantage of it. You know, occasionally you can get away with a mistake. And that time Hibbert didn't. And so the perfect game and the no-hitter go by the boards, and now the shutout's still intact. But that in jeopardy.
Here's Jose Offerman. He bounced to third his only time up, looks at a strike. Bottom of the 7th, Mets leading Florida 1-0. Cincinnati in the 5th in front of San Diego 6-3. They're in the 7th inning at the Vet. Pirates and Phils even at 1. Atlanta 2-0 in the 6th over Houston. Colorado leads San Francisco 3-1. That game in the 2nd inning. Over in the American League, short schedule. They're in the 8th. Yanks and Tigers even at 1. Scoreless game, Boston and the Birds in Baltimore in the 6th. Minnesota, California, White Sox in Seattle later tonight. One and 2 to Jose Offerman. Well, the Dodgers still big believers in this young man, and I go along with him. I think this guy's going to have a good career.
Well, offensively, he keeps getting better and better. And if he can get over the careless mistakes at shortstop, he'll be a good one because he has all the tools. He's very quick to both sides, Tommy. He's got a strong arm. He's making a lot of careless mistakes right now. At times, he'll nonchalant ground balls and he'll get in trouble. But as far as the ability is concerned, they keep thinking that he's going to be a great shortstop one day.
2-2. Goes to 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Dodgers have had all kinds of trouble scoring runs this year. In fact, when you look around the major leagues, only 2 other teams have scored less than the Dodgers. So when they fall down 6-0, they could be in trouble. Milwaukee and Florida, and then the Dodgers as far as fewest runs scored.
Vizcaino will handle it. 1 down.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Chicago National League Ball Club, which has a right of approval of the announcers and is intended solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Chicago National League Ball Club is prohibited.
Pinch hitter being sent up by Tommy Lasorda. An all-star a year ago, Mike Sharperson. Hitting only 154. He's only had 13 at-bats this season and 1 for 7, as you see, coming off the LA bench. He is hitting for Steve Wilson, who had a perfect 2/3 of an inning.
Take a look at the slugging percentages of Mike Sharperson, and you'll see why he was an all-star last year, and every year he's improved. And that is amazing for a man who spends most of his time on the bench.
Hit hard, but Buechele there. 2 away with Karros still at second base after a leadoff double.
Brett Butler, one of the premier singles hitters, maybe in the history of baseball. He's got 20 singles this year, and 3 years in succession he's led the National League in singles.
And to go hand in hand with that, in terms of just total base hits over the last 6 years in the National League, Brett Butler number 2, only behind Tony Gwynn, and only 6 hits behind Tony Gwynn over the last 6 years. I think you could stump a lot of people with that trivia question. He has had an outstanding big league career.
This was a great acquisition for them, and how Al Rosen ever let Brett Butler go, I'll never know, because he was the key to that offensive club in San Francisco. He is the ideal center fielder leadoff man, maybe in all of baseball. Year after year, he'll lead in bunt base hits. Smart hitter, will take a walk. This year, the on-base percentage at .433 coming in, consistently over .400, which is exactly what you need for your leadoff hitter.
Good play by Hibbert. He'll get out of the inning. Leadoff double by Karros. He does not move. We go to the bottom of the sixth. It's been all Chicago.
Hello again, everybody. Harry Carey with Steve Stone and Tom Brenneman as we go into the top of the seventh. Jody Reed leading it off, 0 for 2 so far. Hibbert has been outstanding. Only one man has reached base, and that was Eric Karros with his leadoff double in the sixth. Here's the strike called. 2 balls and the strike. There's a pitch fouled back out of play.
Hibbert has thrown so many pitches down by the knees tonight that the Dodgers have been able to do very little with him but pound the ball right into the ground. And the Cubs' inner defense in that infield usually is pretty tough. And so if you can throw a lot of ground balls, you're going to be in pretty good shape.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
Every one of those infielders an accomplished defensive player.
Now Hibbert gets set. Just a little bit outside. Coach Mike Eason and his staff from the University of Central Arkansas here from Conway, Arkansas, home of Scottie Pippen of the Bull. He's sitting behind the Cubs dugout. There's ball 4 to first man that Hibbert has walked. Only the second man to reach base.
Eric Davis has hit the ball hard twice, and this is a man you have to worry about. These days, Eric has a lot of problems with fastballs up and in, as Greg Maddux used to show him every time he used to face Maddux. But Hibbert doesn't have that kind of a fastball. And when you have to throw the ball away from Davis, you've got some big problems, because he loves to extend his arms, and that's the ball he hits hard.
Lefevre and his pitching coach. There's another beach ball being thrown off the field. Somebody's getting rid of a lot of beach balls. Gwen McCormick is here from Corp, Ontario, Canada. Friend of Ken McGee's.
You saw the difference in the graphic between the first years of Davis's career when he was entirely healthy and the last 3 years when he's been beset by physical problems. Just 17 home runs over the last 3 seasons.
There's a strike call, a fastball at the knees. They're here from Mesa, Arizona. Mark Chitwood, Steve Shaw, and Dean Keats. A high pop foul out of play. We're in the top of the seventh. Diana Chase and Shane Martin from Brandon, Florida here. The pitch. Ooh, just missed that strike zone. 2-2. Runner at first. Ball 3. 3 balls, 2 strikes. We're in the top of the seventh. 6-0 Cubs. Fouled it into the stands. A rolling foul bounced over the Cubs dugout. Eddie Peckel is here from Manhattan Beach, California. Now the pitch. swung and he fouled it back. Brenda Oster is here from Fargo, North Dakota. He walked him also. And here's Darryl Strawberry.
Here's Billy Connors, who's going to go out to talk with Hibbard, because the easiest way to see a lead dissipate, start walking guys, and Hibbard, who was in control all the way, has walked two. Tommy Lasorda now, seeing that he might have an opening for the first time tonight against Hibbard, is trying to get his troops fired up. You allow a team to get back in it, and there's the bullpen. Nobody up yet, but a team will get back in it with a couple of walks and a long ball, and Billy Connors went out to make sure that Hibbard starts throwing some strikes.
Well, speaking of long ball, here's a guy who's made a career of it. Runners at first and second. Ball one inside. Steve Neal in the Chicago Sun-Times this morning had a wonderful article on Eli Schulman, who passed away about 5 years ago. Here's the pitch and curve outside. And I know Eli would have been proud and happy to have read this column, because it also covers the fine accomplishments of his son Mark. 2 balls and a strike.
Bullpen up and going now for the Cubs, and it's Bob Scanlon.
Ooh, a double play ball would be nice right here. Swung and he missed. A good curveball. 2-2.
Everybody associated with the Cubs would like to wish a speedy recovery to Eli Sargis, who watches every game. Good friend of Yosh Kawano's. Constant clubhouse companion to the whole club. Get back soon.
2 strikes. Fouls and pitch back. Boy, he's going right after Strawberry, isn't he?
Well, he knows he can ill afford to walk him, because after Strawberry is tough hitting Wallach, Piazza, and Karros, all right-hand hitters. So you got to retire the left-hander or you're in real trouble.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Time call. Reed is at second. Davis at first. Nobody out. Just the crowd. Darryl. Check him out. Call on a curveball. He really fooled him with a change of pace. Strawberry called out on strike.
Darryl, just looking, gets frozen by the curveball, and it snaps over the plate. A fine pitch by Hibbard. And no complaints from Strawberry. And now a great double play target in Tim Wallach, who does not run very well. So a ground ball, turn 2 and get out of the inning. That's the game plan.
Twice he's hit right to Vizcaíno, who's thrown him out. If he hit another one like he did the last 2 times, you would get to double play. The outfield is shade towards left. Wallach hitting .227. Strike call. 0-2. Greg Hibbard going for his 3rd victory of the year. Now the pitch. Here it is. High. Hop fly. Sammy Sosa's there. Makes the catch. And there's 2 away. And here's Mike Piazza, who would have hit a homer in the 2nd inning, but the wind blew it back. Then he tapped out in front of the plate, and Wilkins threw him out the next time up. And now he's up there with 2 out, 2 on.
You see the black circle with the number 52, and that's in memory of the late Tim Cruz, who spent so many years with the Dodgers, just honoring a departed teammate.
The pitch. There's a high fly ball Sosa back. He's there. He's got it to retire the side. No runs, no hits, no errors, 2 left. We go into the bottom of the 7th, and the Cubs are leading 6-0.
This is WGN-TV Chicago, America's #1 sports station.
Well, it wasn't for this guy, Hibbert will be going for a no-hitter. And there's another hit for Karras. He doubled for the only hit in the 6th, and now he starts the 8th with the other hit. As I just said, the 9 o'clock news will follow the ball game. A runner on at first base. And we ought to be pretty close to the scheduled 9 o'clock time for the news. We're in the top of the 8th. Here's Offerman. He bunts. Up with it, the throw. Whoa, he got him. A fine grab by Gray. Boy, I think he took that right off the helmet of Offerman going down the line. A fine play by Mark Grace.
Rick Wilkins has a great arm, and he shows it to you right here because Offerman looked like he was going to beat this out as Grace reaches right across, grabs it, and they get him at first.
So now, I doubt if they'd give him a sacrifice on that, would they?
I wouldn't think so, Harry, because he was obviously bunting for a base hit, and Corey Snyder is coming up to pinch hit.
Corey Snyder, a good hitter, hitting only .222, no homers, 3 RBIs. He's 0 for 3 as a pinch hitter. We're in the top of the 8th. Hibbert working on a shutout. He's given up only 2 hits, both to the same man, Eric Karros. Was a Rookie of the Year last season. And probably they're touting Mike Piazza for that award this year. I don't know if he played enough last year or not.
No, he still qualifies as a rookie.
Pulled it foul.
Snyder had a good year last year, kind of a renaissance year back with San Francisco after some great years with Cleveland. He hit .269 last year, 14 home runs, 57 runs driven in. And this his 7th year in the major leagues.
Bounced it foul off his leg. The Phillies lead the Pirates 5-1. Boy, oh boy, who's going to stop those Phillies?
This will be their best start in history, Harry, if they move to 23-7. And they've been around a long time.
Hot shot, base hit. There goes the shutout. Corey Snyder drills one down the third base line, a double, and a run is in. And it's a 6-1 ball game.
For Corey Snyder, that's run batted in number 4, and his first hit as a pinch hitter. He gets a low fastball and drives it down the line past Steve Buechele, who with a 6-run lead was not guarding the line. His 3rd double of the year. And Harry, you know, everybody says you can't win the pennant in April and May, but they forget that the 1984 Detroit Tigers, who went 35-5, played 500 ball the rest of the way and walked away with the American League East. And Philadelphia off to a start this year trying to do the same thing.
Well, you know, that's what I've always referred to as the games you win in April. You don't have a chance to lose in September. Here's a bunt. He's trying to beat it out. There's a peg. They get him. Brett Butler tried to bunt his way off, and Buechele on a nice play threw him out.
Outstanding play by Steve Buechele, and you know that Butler's going to bunt once during the night, and Buechele comes in with a bare hand pickup, throws in the same motion. And he is a legitimate candidate for a Gold Glove at third base, as you see Ossenmacher and Scanlon loosening once again.
Here's Jody Reed. He's nothing out of 2. Bounce to Vizcaíno twice. A little outside. Strike call. A ball and a strike. The Yankees at Detroit, still 1-1. Ground ball. Nice play by Buechele. He is on. What a play by Steve Buechele. Boy, oh boy, how good can you get? So, 1 run, 2 hits, 1 left. We go in the bottom of the 8th. The Cubs lead 6-1. Harry Carey back at Wrigley Field. John Fierro, the fine trainer, working with Steve Buechele, made this diving play, landed on the grass. Apparently he hurt his knee a little bit. He threw the man out. A great play. And John Fierro was working with him. Here's Grace to lead off. Bottom of the 8th. Roger McDowell is a teammate again of Darryl Strawberry. Both used to be with the Mets. Now both with the Dodgers. McDowell also was with the Phillies.
McDowell throwing pretty well. He doesn't have a record. He does have a 2.45 ERA, and this is his 12th appearance. Last year he saved 14 for the Dodgers.
He's had 1 save so far this year.
Well, they wanted him to be the save man when Todd Worrell had his physical problems, but that fell to Jim Gott, who's thrown much better. Has not given up a run in 13 appearances.
Who had a good cut. 2 balls and a strike. The Mets defeated Florida 1-0 at New York. They split the 4-game series, I think. I'm sure. 2 balls and a strike. Next weekend, we'll be in Florida for 3 days. We'll see that Florida Marlin organization. 3 balls and a strike. Base hit. Boy, Grace is hotter than a firecracker. There's Janine Turner. A single to right. Well. I guess the columnists know wherever they write. Boy, she's a beautiful girl and he's a handsome guy, right? Here's Sandberg. Runner at first. There's a curveball low and away. 6-1 in favor of the Cubs. The outfield shade Sandberg towards the left. Swung and he missed. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Phillies are 3 outs away from another victory. Bouncing ball, he might beat it out. Watch his play. Safe, he did beat it out.
Good heads-up play by Tim Wallach.
Wallach figured the runner would round the bag, Grace, and he'd get him there. So he realized he didn't have much of a chance against Sandberg, so it's an infield hit for Rhino.
Heads-up base running by Mark Grace, because it's pretty easy to round the bag just a step, and Wallach fakes to first. With all his experience, he goes to second, but Grace, realizing that there was no place to go, decided to stay right there. And Rhino has his first hit of the night.
And here is Derrick May. Drove in 2 runs in the 4th, lined hard in the 6th. And he's up there with 2 men on, nobody out again here in the 8th. Ooh, good swing. Smitty's 3 out of 4 with 2 runs batted in, 2 runs scored. hit his 3rd homer this season. Vizcaíno, 1 out of 3. Ground ball towards short. No play anywhere. The bases are loaded. I tell you, maybe just the fact that we've seen him on bad nights. I find it difficult to believe the stories I've read coming from the Dodgers, how great this offense is. It seems to me, approaches the ball very lackadaisically.
Well, this is a terrible play because you have to get the out at first, but you see him wait back on this ball. He allowed the ball to play him. And on this slow infield here, unlike Dodger Stadium, and he takes ground balls before the game, you've got to know that that hopper has got to be played to first base, especially when the man at first, Sandberg, has good speed.
So it's a hit again for Derrick May. And here is Steve Buechele, who's been outstanding at third base defensively, and now up there in the spot to really do some good for his team offensively. Bases loaded, nobody out, the infield back. Fouled it out of play into the stands on the first base side.
Watch the reaction of Steve Buechele, who usually takes that ball to right field. And I think what happened is, on the dive, he jammed his right wrist. And I think that's what John Fierro was looking at. When you hit the ball off the end of the bat, you get some vibration, and I think that's what he was showing there. I think that right wrist is still stinging him somewhat.
Well, let's hope it won't keep him out of the lineup. 0-2. Time called. Derrick May at first. Ryan Sandberg at second. Mark Grace at third. Buechele. A count of 0-2. Way outside. McDowell, a good sinker. Gets a lot of ground balls.
Roger is throwing a lot harder than he usually throws. That fastball at 92 miles an hour. And for a sinker baller, that's most unusual. So he probably has not had a lot of work of late, because he looks very strong, and when the fastball is that fast, it usually doesn't sink that well.
He struck him out. The second time in a row, and Buechele is 0 for 4, but he has been sensational defensively. Here's Sammy Sosa. He drove in a run in that big 4th inning.
Sammy's becoming quite a favorite here, as you would expect for a man who has 7 home runs and 18 driven in. And they love his enthusiasm. This man plays hard from the time the game starts till the time it ends. And it doesn't matter what the score is. He has a lot of intensity.
Bases are loaded. 1 out, infield back. Sammy Sosa. Line to the first baseman double play. Sandberg is double up. Sosa line to Karras, who threw to the shortstop for the double play ending the inning. So no runs out of all that. 3 hits, no errors, and 2 left. At the end of 8, there it is. Cubs lead 6-1. Producer director of Cubs baseball is Arnie Harris. Coordinating producers Bill Borson. Our associate producer, Joe Cornell. Remember, the 9 o'clock news comes up immediately following the ball game. And leading off against Bob Scanlon, who cannot get a save. He's got too big a lead, 6-1. He'll face Eric Davis. 1 ball, no strike.
Scanlon at 0-2, the ERA 4.09, on for the 14th time.
Swing and fouls it back. One ball, 1 strike. Fastball is high. The Phillies Curveball a little bit outside. Phillies about to win their 23rd game of the year. 16 games above 500. Wow. Ball 4. Scanlon walks. First man he faces, Eric Davis. That brings up Darryl Strawberry.
Well, you don't want to use Randy Myers tonight with the day game tomorrow if you don't have to. So he's going to let Scanlon go. But if Scanlon gets a couple of men on, you can bet that Randy Myers will be loosened up. The Fever does not want to let this one get away with a 5-run lead in the 9th.
There's a bouncing ball. No play at second. Throws the first for the out. Strawberry in the first pitch with Eric Davis going. Slapped the ball hard to Vizcaino. There was no chance to throw to anybody at second because Davis was running with a hit and run. So Vizcaino took the sure out. Vizcaino's been a busy man around shortstop. And Buechele around second. Here's Tim Wallach. There goes Davis. The throw. And he is safe. Buechele. And I guess they'll give him stolen bases on second and third.
Well, not on second, but he will get a stolen base here as he makes it very easily at third, and Scanlon paying no attention with the big lead, and Davis just taking the base.
Fastball inside.
That's stolen base number 11 for Eric Davis, and he has not been thrown out yet.
Philadelphia leading the Pirates 5-1 in the 9th. On Darren Daulton's grand slam. Yesterday, Mariano Duncan grand slam of victory. Off Lee Smith, Duncan hit his. Strike call.
Going back to 1992, that's 25 consecutive stolen bases for Eric Davis. So there's nothing wrong with his legs. He's had his problems in the rib cage and the upper body.
2 balls, 2 strikes. There's a high fly. Will produce another run. Dwight Smith under it. Makes the catch. Throw to the plate. And Davis beats it, but Smitty showed a fine arm. Threw the ball in on a fly. So it's a 6-2 ball game.
Dwight Smith trying everything he can, but Eric Davis is just too fast. So Scanlon gives up the run. Eric Davis goes across. And the 4th sacrifice fly for Tim Wallach, who has driven in his 16th. And the Cubs 1 out away with a 4-run lead.
Here's the crowd's on his feet now. Mike Piazza. Nothing out of 3. Nobody on base. Pitch a little bit outside. Hit 2 balls very hard tonight. One to May, held up by the wind. The other one to right, deep to Sosa against the wall. Fouled it back. 1 ball, 1 strike. Colorado leading the Giants 4-1 at the end of 3. A little outside. Atlanta in the 8th, leading Houston 2-1. High pop foul out of play. 2 balls, 2 strikes. All right, let's make this the final pitch. Remember, the news follows immediately. Listen to this crowd. Over 32,000 paid. 2-2. Fouled it back. Bob Scanlon. 6'6", tall, rangy right-hander. Fouled it out of play again. And the crowd still on his feet. Cubs leading 6-2, 2 out, nobody on base. Ground ball, Buechele. Cubs win. Cubs win. They beat the Dodgers 6-2 in the first game of this series. We'll be back in a moment.